up on CTV News tonight, insurance concerns for Christchurch historical buildings and hopes for parts of the CBD to reopen. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. It was announced last week that another major Christchurch hotel, the Crown Plaza, will also be demolished. The Central City Business Association now hopes that this means parts of the city and major arterial roads around the hotel can be reopened after its demolition.
It's been announced the Crown Plaza Hotel is on the demolition list, and once it's gone, it may allow a route through Victoria Square to be restored, allowing an easier access road from that side of the city, making future CBD access easier.
I think we should probably call it a passageway because we're not really sure what the intention is through there, but obviously opening that passageway up will certainly add to the vista of coming into the CBD. The building here sort of blocked that vision coming into the city from the north, and it'll be nice to see that reopened up, whilst it's actually sad we're losing quite a number of hotel beds.
And there are some ideas for the land once the hotel is gone, as shown in the recently released Central City Draft Plan.
I think if you look in the city plan, there's a bit of a vision in there for that. There may be light rail that runs through there, but from what I gather of that, it looks like it could be grassed, so it doesn't look like a rail area.
Mr Lonsdale says he hopes the building owners will move swiftly with the demolition to prevent delays in reopening areas around Victoria Square.
It's just another area that's going to, sort of open up around the area, and there've been a number of businesses that have been locked out because of large buildings like this here. The ones that can reopen will be able to reopen, but quite honestly, there's a lot of buildings come down in the central city, and I think in the CBD area in particular, there's a lot more than what people think.
And the future is uncertain for the hotel's 160 staff who have remained on full pay since the quake.
Any layoff of staff is a concern, but it is interesting to note that Canterbury hasn't had a spike in unemployment, so people are obviously finding re-employment elsewhere, which is very, very good to see. So again, it is disappointing. I think the biggest disappointment though is losing those beds for the city, and it's going to affect the tourist industry coming into the reopening.
The company that owns the hotel says it remains committed to staying in Christchurch, and Mr Lonsdale says this is important for the future of the CBD.
A major international structural engineer says the majority of Christchurch's historic buildings do not need to be demolished and can be repaired for 1/3 of the cost of rebuilding safely.
This building may appear beyond repair, but it's not.
Basically, this base part is preserved, but as you can see, this government building, all the roof part is gone. Now, this base part can be preserved by the reinforced concrete applied to inside of a building, so architectural looks the exact same. Or there's a technique, use a fiber reinforced plastic that can be glued to the, again, backside.
And that's the case for the majority of historic buildings that have been written off, according to Kit Miyamoto, CEO and structural engineer for Miyamoto International. He's in town for an international speaker series being held this weekend, which has brought experts in to share their experience in rebuilding cities struck by natural disasters. Mr Miyamoto has worked in areas like Haiti and says with the right techniques, these buildings can be restored to an equally safe state as what they would be if they were rebuilt.
Actually, you can make much safer than it was before, by far. So that is exactly what we should do, And again, it's just that we need to give these beautiful buildings a chance. Just let's look at it, and let's look closely before you're going to lose your history.
And at 1/3 of the cost of rebuilding.
Those are damaged buildings. There are a lot of damaged buildings here. So far, option seems to me here is just take it down. But there is different option is available, which is repair and strengthening. And usually cost is about 30 to 40% of a replacement cost.
Under his leadership, more than 12,000 projects have been successfully completed worldwide, and his techniques have proved unbeatable. A lifesaver to Christchurch's heritage, which he assures does not need to go.
It is so important to preserve this. Look at how beautiful this building is, And it's too bad it's definitely at the half gone, but you can strengthen this bottom part and just keep this part and just back to the just original usage as a church. I think that is something really needed here. This is your history. And there is definitely ways to cost effectively repair and strengthen it. And I think we need to do that.
Colleague Michael King will be inspecting buildings set to be demolished over the next 6 months, Excelsior Bar being his first mission.
I'm actually looking at a building with some demo contractors on Manchester. We're trying to save at least the historic facade while they destroy the building behind it due to its extensive damage. So the future building that gets built behind it will have the old facade that was built at the turn of the century.
And they've been successful in talking demolition crews around. His disbelief lay in witnessing so many churches still sitting with tape around them 6 months on from when they were declared unsafe. Reopening these, a project he's taking on himself.
I've actually, in driving around for the last 2 weeks, I've noticed a lot of old churches. And I went and looked at a 150-year-old building over in Littleton, and it's an old bed and breakfast, and I'm working with the owner on that one to try to save it. And I noticed all the churches are built almost exactly the same way. And I'm really interested in trying to save some of the old churches.
He says the community needs to rally together and help fix these broken buildings. And he's more than happy to go further than just advise, offering to help with repairs during his weekends, something he considers to be a fun task.
Staying on the topic of heritage buildings, there is major concern as insurance cover has been cancelled for 2 of Christchurch's prominent buildings. The Christchurch Catholic Cathedral and Arts Centre were both badly damaged in the February earthquake and require extensive repair in order to be saved, but are not covered for further aftershocks. Emily Cooper spoke to director Ken Franklin about the future of Christchurch's iconic art centre.
Christchurch's Arts Centre is no longer insured, meaning it will not be covered for any damage if there's another aftershock. The insurance policy, worth up to $116 million, recently came to an end.
Well, as of today, we're not insured. So any additional damage that we incur effectively is an additional cost that somehow we've got to cover off on and bear. There are 2 policies with a total value for material damage of about $116 million.
And the current policy cannot currently be renewed.
Not until we have progressed some strengthening and repair work. So until we've kind of completed that, most of the buildings will not be covered.
If there was another damaging aftershock, it's uncertain where the money to fund repairs would come from.
The only place it can come from really is through gift and support and sponsorship, that sort of thing. There is no formal funding arrangements, there's no public money or very little public money that comes to us from the city or nationally, so basically we have to fend for ourselves.
Only $400,000 a year comes from heritage funding, and the Arts Centre spends close to $4 million a year to keep things operating and to undertake conservation work. The Arts Centre was extensively damaged in February's quake, with nearly every building in need of repair. Mr Franklin says there's been strengthening completed and deconstruction has commenced.
Hopefully we've done a lot of shoring up and propping of the most vulnerable bits, and we've also deconstructed elements where it's seemed to be too dangerous as well. So fingers crossed we'd sort of come through it okay.
The new buildings, including the registry building, are covered under a different policy with a different insurer. This is the same with the Dux Deluxe and the Court Theatre, even though they're part of the Arts Centre. Those policies are continuing. The only insurance issues are around the original stone buildings. Mr Franklin says the Arts Centre currently has not seen any of the $116 million from insurers, but work has already started on the hall and the clock tower.
The building and around the clock tower has had quite a significant crack that occurred around the clock and then right down to the base of the building on the front face. At the top end of that, it was wide enough so that you could actually put your fist through the wall. You clearly see daylight right through it, so it's quite a major shift. If you look at the doors going into the clock tower here, you'll see that just above that archway the doorway has slumped significantly, suggesting that the external walls on the east and west side have kind of moved out a little bit, and the centre of the building's kind of pushed down. we're hoping to get underway in November, and it should be about a 3-year project. So both for the clock tower and the hall combined, those are probably our most significant buildings that we've got on site, and we're wanting to make sure that we attend to those first really urgently before they get any worse.
Stones are being taken off piece by piece, numbered and sorted into piles, and will be put back into the same place.
All that stonework has been sort of numbered, and there are plans attached to all of those pallets showing where it's come from. So we've got a very clear determination to rebuild this place. We're carefully sort of taking it to bits where we need to, and we're well underway with sort of determining how it's going to be rebuilt in terms of the actual plans for strengthening.
Mr Franklin says he does not have any concerns for the future of the Arts Centre and believes it will be better than ever. He says they're determined to achieve normality in 8 to 9 years. However, insurers believe it could take 13 to 15 years. But they do want to reopen areas progressively. With no more major shakes, the majority of the Arts Centre will be saved.
I think as long as we can get some certainty in respect of the seismic activity, as long as that doesn't sort of take us by surprise, then we're reasonably confident that we will get it rebuilt, and not only rebuilt, we'll also get it strengthened to a point where people will have absolute confidence in coming back into these buildings.
Coming up after the break, 2 major Rugby World Cup teams making a trip to Christchurch. The English and Australian rugby teams will visit Christchurch during the Rugby World Cup. Both teams were due to play matches in Christchurch, but the February earthquake changed those plans. Martin Snedden, CEO of Rugby New Zealand 2011, says it's hoped the teams were able to do their bit to raise the spirits of City. English team manager Martin Johnson and several team members will spend time in the city on September the 7th ahead of their opening match against Argentina in Dunedin on September the 10th. Australia team members will travel from Hanmer Springs on September the 28th, undertake a variety of community activities prior to flying to Nelson for their match against Russia. This will include a tour of the new fan zone at Hagley Park. The All Blacks will base themselves in Christchurch from September the 17th to the 20th ahead of their pool game against France at Eden Park on the 24th of September. And Christchurch police are again warning residents to be cautious about providing bank and credit card details over the phone after receiving reports of a phone scam involving electricity account payments. One involves callers claiming to be offering a Red Cross assistance package. Senior Sergeant Steve Bartholomew says it's a recent case a resident contacted police this week after being phoned by a caller claiming to be from the electricity company Genesis Energy. He says the caller said they were offering a Red Cross assistance payment towards their power bill as part of the scheme to help people with high electricity accounts. Credit card details were passed on. The resident subsequently contacted Genesis and the Red Cross and established that the payment was bogus. Both Genesis Energy and Red Cross have confirmed that no such scheme is currently operating and that their staff would not call people and ask for their personal information over the phone. The Senior Sergeant Bartholomew says that they have had several similar incidents reported in several weeks and says if people have any doubts they should check the authenticity of any such request with the organisation concerned directly. If you have any concern, you can visit www.scamwatch.govt.nz and report any suspicious calls to police. If people are concerned they have handed over bank or credit card details in suspicious circumstances, they should contact their bank or credit card company as quickly as possible. And a group of students at Cathedral Grammar School has designed a badge to mark the February 22 earthquake. They're hoping to raise money for the rebuild of Christchurch Cathedral.
Students at the Cathedral Grammar School enjoy collecting badges for their blazers, and now a group of young leaders has made its own badge for students to wear as a symbol of the earthquake. The Year 8 Board of Senior Students, called BOSS for short, has worked hard to turn its idea into the final product.
So in assembly we asked everyone to draw pictures of what they thought it should look like, and bring them into me or Samantha. And then after we got all the entries, we took them up and discussed which ones we thought would be best. And we got the colour and the shape and what was on it from lots of different designs and put them together.
They're happy with how the badges have turned out.
It's pretty cool, really. Like, to think that we designed that and so many people are wearing it and enjoying having it on their blazers.
The earthquake caused plenty of disruption for the school, which was closed for 4 weeks and lost 22 classrooms, along with the hall and music room. The red brick Statham building was demolished and the Debenham building is due to come down soon, while repairs are needed on the junior school building and the chapel. But the students wanted to raise money to rebuild the Christchurch Cathedral, which is close to their hearts. The cathedral choristers are educated at the school, which opened in 1881, the same year as the iconic church. The badges are being sold for $5 each, and the students are hoping to fundraise as much as they can.
Well, first we're going to sell it to the whole school, and then we're thinking to sell it to other schools and maybe nationally and internationally.
And the choristers are pleased to have the support.
Well, we think it's great just to be able to have another step forward in getting our cathedral back. And it's just a great feeling knowing that you're helping rebuild the cathedral.
And it's good to know that once they rebuild it, hopefully more people will come to the services and realise what a wonderful place it is there. And hopefully they will enjoy the services that we'll be holding. And it's good to know that the school is supporting us all the way.
The badges can be purchased by emailing the school or through its website, cathedralgrammar.school.nz.
And Pete Smith spoke to Christchurch Mayor Bob Parker about the latest on the Central City draft plan on city life.
The draft plan, Bob, pretty well accepted.
I think it's gone down very well.
Right.
And I think one of the things, and it comes back to a kind of a subtext of the theme that you and I have had today, which is about going forward, making things happen, having something to look forward to.
Now, you met with the stakeholders the other day.
Yes, we met. We had our first meetings. We've got lots and lots of meetings now, because the first thing was that 106,000 ideas. That really genuinely shaped the plan, and I think people can see that, and it's given them real faith in the process. And now we go back and we talk to all of the different sector groups, what we call stakeholder groups, people who might be landowners in the city or business owners in the city or who live inside the four avenues.
And by and large, they've embraced it?
They've embraced it, I think. Yeah. No, it's got. I'm really thrilled, actually.
Okay.
I mean, there's some big sort of long-distance vision stuff in there, around the light rail, for example. But building heights, I mean, that's a huge change. But these are things that will help create a unique city. And what we need to remember always is that we're competing with thousands of cities around about 500,000 people in size.
Right.
And they all face the same structural issues: ageing populations, the mega cities attracting people, attracting investment, smaller cities finding it hard to survive. For us to have a future, the sort of future that we dream of, to fulfil that ambition of the most beautiful city on earth, we need to be quite bold, I think.
Here's Gracie now with what's happening in our city over the weekend.
Welcome to What's On. Maireho is holding a community day this Saturday, a free event for people in the Shirley Maireho community. Bouncy castles, a clown, karaoke and face painting are some of the things on offer. The event will be held in the Maireho High School Hall. If you have a dance group, play or sing music and would like to perform or would like to run an information stall for your organisation, contact Kim on 355 6522. The SPCA is holding an open day this Saturday from 11 till 3:30 p.m. at the SPCA Animal Event Centre in Hornby. They're inviting the public to come and meet their team, take a look around and, if you like, adopt one of the animals. The 31st Antiques and Collectibles Fair is being held at the Canterbury Table Tennis Centre during the weekend. It's open from 10 till 4 and is $5 per adult, with children entering free. JD Duathlon, the Enduro, is hitting Ruapuna Raceway this Sunday. The Duathlon is a run, bike, run race. For first-timers, there's a novice race and participants can also share the load and create a team. There's also a separate kids duathlon and a serious athletes multi-lap draft-free course. For information, contact 981 7508 or go to www.jdevents.co.nz. One of Christchurch's newest attractions, Tot Hill's Mazes in Hornby, features Christchurch's only wooden maze, a lawn labyrinth, and in the summer months, a corn maze. They're holding a Kiwiana hunt through the wooden maze and a competition where people can complete the first challenge race. The event runs from 10 till 5 and is $10 per person. And finally, Rolleston Community Market is on this Sunday, August 28th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can email rollestonCommunityMarket@gmail.com or phone Debbie on 027 480 6520 if you're interested in holding a stall. If you have any events you would like us to mention, you can email news@ctv.co.nz or call us here at CTV on 3777 033.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.